Oh, hey, Twitch thought. What color is your thong today?
What color is your thong today? Respect women. You just absolute infant of a human.
Okay, well, what color is your thong? You absolute infant of a human. Wait, is that even less respectful? How about this? You need to respect men, you foaming brat of a chuff bubble. Do you see how that would be something of a disproportionate escalation there? One that would disqualify its speaker from lecturing anyone about respect. I'm reckoning you're not seeing that. Actions don't follow consequences. Alrighty then.
So what did you expect? Did you expect I was gonna be like, Blue? Oh my god, why do you want to find out? Here's my number. Like, what do you think people are gonna do, my dude? How do you see this going any other way than how it went?
Well, I'm not wearing a thong. Is one way you can go. That's what I would say. If I wasn't wearing a thong. I'm not, by the way. Actually, there you go. Remarkably easy thing to say. At least it's what I would say if I wasn't wearing a thong and I didn't feel like joking around. I would just, say what's true. That's fine too. No one's under any obligation to be joking or not be joking at any given time, unless outlined in your job description or whatever. But if I did feel like joking around, in the event of someone inquiring as to the colour of my thong, I might say something like, it's rainbow coloured. With a black and brown stripe down one side. All of my underwear has a black and brown stripe down one side because I don't think through my life choices. It's a good little comedy routine I'm building up here. It's topical and everything. Whereas if I was, as it transpired, wearing a thong, and someone asked me what colour my thong is, and I didn't feel like joking around, moreover, if my sense of humour had already long since been devoured by my sense of self-importance, I would probably feel somewhat annoyed that someone had correctly guessed that I am indeed wearing a thong. Internally, I might sort of think to myself, well, it's blue, but how did they know? Is it showing? Has it shown before? Do I seem like the thong-wearing type just by my demeanour? I feel moderately ashamed that I might be so predictable and so whatever else could be insinuated by someone who wears a thong just to play video games. And if I really took myself overly seriously enough, I might attempt to deflect and project this self-inflicted shame of mine onto the person who had just spontaneously banged to rights figured out my underwear habits. But again, this is only what I would say if I had a guilty conscience buried deep under all my closeted psychological skeletons and no sense of humour to help get me through it. Like if I was some kind of fraud. So somebody pretends to get places by being good at things, but actually just gets free shit for being a woman. I don't know. But in the event that I do have self-awareness and nothing to hide, I would interpret it as a joke. Not even as a lucky guess, but as a joke. A completely harmless one, just like literally all jokes.
You can't take a joke? What do you think a joke is?
Well, it's not just mugging at the camera with a Jim Halpert get a load of this guy face. That's just a woke hipster begging their audience for validation. Like one of those authoritarian douchebags retweeting some libertarian point they don't understand and calling it a bad take as though they've just owned someone. As they wait impatiently and fruitlessly for someone else to come along and explain to them why it's a bad take. It's just a cry for help. A cry for help, whimpering from behind the rolling eyes of a deeply pathetic scumbag who should kill themselves. Not you, though. No. I'm sure you understand jokes perfectly.
Can you imagine John Mulaney getting up on a stage and pointing at a woman in the audience and going, "What color's your thong?" And then she goes, "Excuse me, that's fucked up." And he goes, "You can't take a joke. You haven't gotten to the joke yet. We got to the part where you were being a dick. You haven't told the joke yet."
Okay, so yes, I can imagine that. I can imagine fiberglass Johnny Cab robot of yours doing that routine. But needless to say, he'd get, quote-unquote, cancelled if he so much as dry ran the joke in an open mic at a dive bar. Unlike Amy Schumer here.
Ever see an uncircumcised penis? You did. Did you know you were going to see it? No, it's always a f***ing surprise party, right? It's him, right? It's him.
So, yes, given that a comedian sorry, I can't quite believe I called Amy Schumer a comedian just now. Given that a one-trick hack chancer and confessed rapist like Amy Schumer can go up to a man in the audience and mock him for his unmutilated penis, and the audience appears to go right ahead and laugh out loud before any actual jokes have been told, yes, I can. Imagine an audience laughing at an actual comedian inquiring as to the colour of a woman's underwear. Though, as I said, I cannot imagine him getting away with it in the same way Lady Amy so gracefully does. Because the colour of a woman's underwear is already evidently far more sacred a subject than the amount of skin mercifully allowed to remain on a man's genitalia. But you still want more respect for that vagina of yours. Okie dokie, Ricky Roo, skip to the loo, my darling!
Google Mike Birbiglia. I'm joking. He has a really great bit.
All right, thanks for the recommendation.
You can't tell jokes at work, basically, because at some point in history, some idiot showed up at work and was like,
I'm a woman and I'm offended, right? That's how everyone else remembers it.
Some idiot showed up at work and was like, nice tits, Betsy. And Betsy's like, what? And that guy's like, I'm joking. And the boss is like, oh, no more jokes.
Okay, so, do I have this right? Cancel culture isn't real, right? Men getting fired for telling jokes doesn't happen. Men getting fired over the paranoid delusions of vindictive, misandric women eavesdropping on other people's conversations doesn't happen. I guess women getting away scot-free with deriding men for not being genitally tortured as a baby doesn't happen. We just watched it happening, but whatever, it's just a joke. But nice tits, Betsy, definitely does happen, Men totally do say shit like that in the workplace and then totally don't get fired for it. The boss just bans all jokes in the workplace. Now the poor women's can't speak freely because of men and their comedic illiteracy. Is that what's happening? That's why we can't have jokes in the workplace. Not because of the people literally demanding we can't tell jokes and getting us fired for telling jokes. You know, censors and censorious people are not to blame for censorship. The people getting censored are to blame for censorship. Okay, my dude, very shrewd use of Lewis's law there, otherwise known as institutional victim blaming. Great bit, Betsy. I really hope it doesn't get censored, because it could only possibly be your fault if it did. And I really hope you don't get fired, because that doesn't even happen. Honk, honk.
No, the rest of us can still joke. You can't, because you were never joking in the first place. You were just being a misogynistic, sexist piece of shit.
Men wear thongs too. In the same colour scheme in which women wear them, I think. Men don't often wear them in Twitch streams, I'll give you that, but if there's an association at play here that's hidden behind an assumption, then therein lies the joke. Therein lies the expectation and the reveal. Like, given that you're a sort of Twitch streamer, girl, gamer type of thing, if someone asked you, what colour is your hot tub? You might instinctively respond, I don't have a hot tub. If it so happens you don't get the joke. But someone asked you what colour thong you're wearing, and lo and behold, you did get the joke. It's one of those jokes that's funny because it's true, isn't it? Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe you're wearing big granny pants or something, and that's what you're ashamed about. It really seems like one way or another the lady what doth that lady doeth again?
And then you don't like hearing that because someone's holding a mirror up to you and it makes you uncomfortable because you and you know the parts of you that are good. So in your heart, you have to come up with a narrative that makes you feel better about the fact that somebody's asking you to confront the parts about yourself that you hate the most.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
And me telling you you're not joking is me asking for you to hold yourself accountable to be a better person because you're not right now.
Oh, heavens. First of all, telling is not asking. Whatever fluff you put after that, it's not the case. Telling is telling, asking is asking. This is why you would make a terrible boss. Because if telling and asking are arbitrarily interchangeable, no one has any idea how urgent anything really is. This passive-aggressive, do you feel like opening the window bullshit of yours is all well and good in a domestic environment. But when establishing the fundamental logic of a given system, you need to bugger off out of the window and don't come back until you're ready to speak your mind and only your mind, not the unsightly obstruction of medical waste you've erected in front of it, okay? But I'm not telling, I'm asking. I ain't your boss. And in case this slipped your mind, you ain't mine either. Secondly, and more importantly, there's no such thing as a better person. At least there's no place for such concepts in anything but a monologue. There are standards of morality, there are standards of intelligence, and there are standards of skill, but there is only one standard for personhood, and that is being alive. You do not get to call someone a bad person in any context, let alone the context of a reaction to a 6-word comment in a live chat, not without a considerable degree of laughter being sent in your direction, perhaps along with the occasional wall of sonic text comparable to your own. You're welcome. You are arbitrating on what is the sum total of the quality of personhood because someone correctly guessed that you were wearing a thong. Or incorrectly guessed. Like, in either case, it's a massively disproportionate overreaction, do you see? Yes, I'm perhaps overreacting to you as well. Behold, as I at least attempt to see it.
And I'm sorry if that's hard for you to hear, because you think you're the hero of your own story, but you are a footnote in everyone else's.
Daily reminder that Barnum's statements are not wit. They're not even rhetorically acceptable replacements for wit. What you just said is literally true of everyone, and literally false of everyone. Because when you even begin to think about it, everyone is the hero of their own story and a footnote in everyone else's. Perhaps what's confusing here is just like there's no such thing as a bad person, there's no such thing as everyone's story. Stories are in the mind of the beholder, not the teller. Neither the pen nor the teller. Are they really called pen and teller? It just seems like that can't be a coincidence. Anyway, well done, whoever you are, for learning the mannerisms of a modern comedian. I'm serious. That's more than nothing. It's, at least you can imitate that which is established as popular. You mug to the camera as though there's someone in the room with you who automatically understands you. Then you tell people what to think, and then you spend the rest of the routine preemptively darvoing any possible critique as per that law of yours. But I really have to recommend perhaps peppering your routine with material that's a little more substantial in a non-meta sort of way. Have you ever noticed, for instance, that there is this world, a whole new world of quirks and oddities and unfathomable wonder outside the pressurized confounds of the Plato's cave that is your vagina? Yes? No? Don't try to be a better person, though. That's what I'm saying. You're already a person. You're alive. That's all a person is. And everything else is just skill. Acquired and developed skill. Take that wall of text that you're ready and willing to erect into any given faux pas and inject something into it that actually builds people up, rather than just diminishes them, as punishment for their offence of serendipitously happening to crack through your armour of toxic femininity and your totally not fragile identity as wherever the hell you are in that particular swamp. And hey, if you're ever in hot water, just ask them if they're circumcised. Apparently it's a brilliant joke. That's all, folks. Follow me on Minds and Gab and Rumble and whatnot. I'm not really on Twitch. Isn't even a speedrun category for how hard I retro. I'm like oppressed or something. I don't know. Don't hit like, don't hit subscribe, don't hit the notification bell. None of it does anything. You know the drill. Bugger off.